What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the show. My name is Adam. I am your host. On today's episode, we have another special guest. We have Tim from SlabStrong joining us, one of the hobby influencers coming out of Topps Big League. We'll get into that a little bit in the show. Tim, how are we doing today?
I'm good, man. How are you?
I'm doing well. Thank you for asking. It's funny because, obviously you got the big hat on there. When you first debuted the hat, I don't think it was something that was really super trendy. And then we saw like the Redskins players with one of the Redskins players with like Commanders, whatever, with the big hat. And then it's kind of become a little bit of a trend. Would you consider yourself a trendsetter when it comes to the big hat?
Only, so I'll say yes, but only to bug my guy Corey from Show Your Slabs. He loves the stuff that's going on for me. He's actually a big part of the reason why some of those things happen. The hat, even being on the card. I say it just to bust people's balls, but even like the influencer thing is like, I collect Rhode Island stuff. You know what I mean? Like it's just weird to be called an influencer, right? Like I want people to buy my product and I want people to like enjoy and laugh at the video as I make, but it's not like the mind frame of like a Logan Paul type where you just want, I don't know. It's wild.
Right.
It's wild.
Yeah. I talked to Aaron from SlabStocks and he kind of had a similar sentiment when it came to the term like influencer. Like, I don't know. I mean, it's like at this point, if you're creating content on social media, you could be considered an influencer. So it's like, and also even if you're just like a regular person, you're influencing people if you tell people you like a restaurant or whatever. So I don't know. It's, the hobby kind of maybe is a little bit rubbed the wrong way when it comes to the influencer title. But, I said, I think people take it a little bit too seriously at times. So,
some people like it. Some people like being an influencer.
Right.
My thing was I have a product, so I want people to see the product more. And then, the big hat. So real quickly, what's interesting about that is, so Corey from Show Your Slabs, he sees a Shark Tank episode. He immediately like texts or calls me and is like, look, I'm going to get these hats. So like Corey got the hat for me. He's like, I'm going to get these hats. He said, I don't think I can pull it off, but I think you can, talking about me, right? So we go to the Mint Collective. He brings the hats. They were shipped to our guy out there. We get the hats within like 3 days of the episode going off. So they had big orders coming, right? But we got in contact with, Corey got in contact with Sean, who is one of the owners that was on Shark Tank. And so then I was on like 10 podcasts, one in South Korea. I went to a show 2 weeks later at the Shriners, and someone was like, I didn't wear the hat. And someone was like, where's the hat? 3 different people. And I was like, okay, I get it. It helps with the marketing. And then honestly, Corey and I still talk to those guys today. I went to Phoenix for the Top Conference and a couple of Super Bowl events, and I toured their facility. Those guys have been absolutely great to us. And real quick fun fact, the hat that you see all the superstars wearing, there's 2 guys that are buying wholesale from Noggin Boss and putting their own patches. Noggin Boss actually got in trouble because they didn't have the licensing, but the funny part was people were buying their hats blank and then would put the Commanders logo. So when that guy says, this is my friend's company, he's actually not talking about original Noggin Boss. So but those guys got amazing promotion, and they still deal with me. They'll send me free hats. And like I'm like a minute part of this thing, but those guys are awesome. So shout out to Noggin Boss and Corey, and
yeah, absolutely. So you are a creator or one of the creators of SlabStrong. So tell the audience what the company is, like what it is that you guys got going on. If you got anything new, obviously tell us about that too. So I'm interested. We'll talk about the origins maybe a little bit later, but like what is SlabStrong for people that may have not heard of it?
Yeah, SlabStrong for me just started off as it just wanted something to accent the cards. So it wasn't even meant to be protection at first. And so, what it is a colored bumper. It's just a rubber. It goes around the card. Just think of it as like a phone case, right? You drop your phone. You don't want it to ding. So originally, like I said, it was about color. And then when you start really getting into and seeing that there is a percentage of people that have actually dropped their card and had to send it back, you go, okay, there might be a utility for it. I think I would say maybe it's like 75% of the people are doing it because it makes the card look better or the slab look better. And I do think there's that component of protection, but I think it's really like the design of it, if you like, you know. So like, I think it just makes cards pops. This is just the black one because I wanted to make it neutral. I have black and clear, which makes it like so you can hardly see it. But then I do color match as well. It's big in the TCG world. But yeah, it's just a colorful protective bumper. Whether you like it for the design or you're actually clumsy, it'll work for you. So SlabStrong.com.
And SlabStrong.com. I'll make sure to put all of the, I'll send you the links. I'll put all the links that you want me to put in the episode description when the full episode comes out, and then in the live description as well. So the origins of the company, kind of how did you get started with it? Like was there a moment where, I don't know, was there a moment where you dropped a card and you're like, oh, I wish I had a protector? Like how did you kind of get started with SlabStrong?
No, I lose my job. Basically March 15th, I lose my job. I was actually going to go see Providence College play the next day at the for the Big East tournament. That was the game that they cut at halftime when everyone learned like they were shutting things down, March 15th of 2020, right? So I lose my job. And at that point, it's like, okay, like you'll be jobless for a month or two. I got furloughed. So then I got a call 3 months later saying, hey, like you're not coming back, right? And at that time, my girlfriend goes back to work. 3 months later, everything's fine. Like opens up minimal. She was a bartender. I asked her to marry me. She says yes. She breaks her ankle 2 hours later.
Oh my God.
And is sitting next to me on the couch for 3 months after that, after having surgery. So I have nothing. I lose my job. At that point, I have just unemployment. Nikki loses her job completely because her broken ankle, but they deny her unemployment. This is weird, right? They deny her unemployment because it wasn't COVID related. So it was this whole weird thing where we're just down and out. And I started selling my cards on eBay of my personal collection, stuff that I didn't want to sell, right? This is like, okay, you got to do what you got to do. And from there, just starting to understand what was happening to the grading game, I said to myself, okay, these companies are essentially protecting a card. And then it switched from the label from Beckett to PSA being the most dominant, right? So all of a sudden now labels matter. Like the labels truly matter because before Beckett was top dog, right?
Right.
PSA just started killing it, right? So now you're like, okay, the labels matter, right? Of what company you're grading these cards. And we know that from all the grading companies that popped up, which I appreciate them because they have all been down with me. So I love any small business starting. But so what happens is I go, okay, if you break a PSA slab, one, you either got to deal with it. It's going to be harder to resell. Right? If it's your personal collection, you just want to deal with it, deal with it. If you can't resell it for the true price if you have a cracked slab, someone's going to count. Even if it's a 10, PSA 10, whatever, Jordan rookie. You have a cracked slab, someone's going to question it and not want the full price.
Right.
And then so at that point, you have to send it back in, spend more money. So I said, for $5 to $10, this is my whole time I'm thinking, for $5 to $10, if I can save someone 50 to 100 plus the stress of sending their card out plus time, then it works. Plus, maybe it'll just make the cards look cooler. So I took so I just had an idea at that point. But then all these things happened to it. So it's like, okay, it's time to, like, what do I have to lose? I have nothing to lose at this point. So with $800 to my name, I got a $200 3D printed like version of it. It wasn't right. It looked right, but it wasn't what it had to be. And end up getting injection molded. My patent published August 1st. So I worked really hard, got a patent actually. So like I'm technically an inventor. I'd rather be an inventor than an influencer, put it that way. So if you Google whatever my real name. But yeah, it just came down to the fact, honestly, that I had a love for the cards. I wanted to make them look better. It just so happens by doing that, it helped protect them. I had like 5 different names at first. SlabStrong is what I chose. And you just kind of, Well, I have had a lot of people help me along the way, right? So it's like none of this just happened, but I always tell people it's like you can't be afraid of the word no, but you really just got to ask. Like, don't even take no the first time. I met such good friends that are like what I would consider big time in the hobby, right? Like, so I got an investment from Jeff Wilson, another person on the influencer card.
Mm-hmm.
But I got my third day in business. I went to the Dallas Card Show, like literally my third day. I sold 200 pieces to PSA, straight to, I probably shouldn't say the name, but straight to PSA.
Right.
I threw my product at Jeff Wilson. He ended up telling me to email him, and we make a deal months later. But Ryan Johnson put me on his YouTube.
Nice.
You know, I was the first to market, right? I have competitors
right.
now, but I was first to market, right? So it was like it happened for me. It happened really fast. And I went from a restaurant manager to owning a business and being an entrepreneur. And I'm still in a whirlwind about it.
Right.
So, but yeah, that's how it started.
Oh, I love that. I mean, it is such an inspiring story going back to, you know, those times back in 2020. I mean, I'm sure there's probably a lot of similar stories where people just kind of were like, the same thing would have happened and they kind of would have just given up and they would have been like, whatever, we're all going to die anyways from this thing. So,
yeah.
But you kind of came out of the ashes and said, no, I'm going to fix this. I'm going to, you know, build this business. We're going to do this. And, you know, we're 3 years after kind of I guess, I don't know. Some people might say the pandemic's still going on, but we're 3 years sort of past the initial date of when it happened. So, I mean, like I said, that's it. You know, I'm glad, obviously, because, you know, we get to have these phenomenal conversations today. So yeah, really, really inspiring.
Yeah. And even without the pandemic, right? I wish I had learned this earlier.
Yeah.
Yeah, no good. I wish I had learned this earlier. Like I was 38 when I had the idea. I'm 40 years old now, right? Don't let the big hat fool you. I'm still a kid at heart, but I'm 40 years old. Just don't give up. And I've been younger, depressed, like all that, right? You go through everything, moved around a lot. Oh, just like don't give up. But the pandemic kicked me in the butt, right? That's what made it happen. But if you can learn that young, like, hey, you got time, and you try not to be like Gary Vee, right? When you say this, but it's like it's true though. Like you really think to yourself, like you're not. And I always wanted to be something, do something, but I never had that foot in the door idea. And it took till 38, but I'm young at heart. So, you know what I mean? So yeah, I tell people like the pandemic kicked me in the butt.
Right.
If people could just realize like you can pretty much do everything. Let's not fool people, right? You can't do anything, right? But you can pretty much do anything.
Right. Yeah. I love that. And so for you, when it comes from a card perspective, did you grow up collecting, like, or was it something that you kind of came into a little bit later on in life? Like, I'm interested for your story about that.
Yeah. So, me and my had a little bit of a tumultuous, like, because I used to go caddying as a kid. It was something I didn't like. So my escape was I used to go to the caddy pit. If anyone out there ever caddy, I used to go to the caddy pit 6 o'clock in the morning, have my bagel. I'd make that money. I'd get on my bike and I'd go to Wexler's Rare Coin or American Rare Coin, and which was card shops at that time. They had coins. Oh, everyone's always had coins. Coins have always been huge.
Right. Yeah.
I used to go buy my, for Christmas, I got the hobby box of the 1990 Flair. The next Christmas, 91. The Upper Deck, right? My father gave me Dominique Wilkins rookie when I was 10. Like I've always, my memory usually goes around the age of 10 because that's when I started making my own money caddying. But I remember opening product like in 1990, I would have been 8, right? So I remember that, but I just the ages, right? So yeah, I've always collected. Luckily, I'm around a lot in my life. Like I moved out of my parents' house as soon as I graduated high school. Moved around the country a lot, couple crazy situations, but my parents never moved, and they've never had like a knock on wood, they didn't have a fire, right? So I have my collection. I still I have it around me right here. Like I'm sitting around like cards right now that I've had as a kid. Like these are like my shacks, right?
Nice.
I've had these forever. That's the 96, 97. So I got lucky in that sense because I know there's a lot of stories where you lose your cards. And then since moved around a lot, I'd randomly buy a pack. It's not like it is now, right? I'd randomly buy a pack. I was the guy, like I walked by the Target aisles when they had cards, the Giannis rookie year, right? That I was that guy, right? When the shelves were stocked.
Yeah.
But I was just moving around a lot. I couldn't have things, right? I couldn't bring a lot of stuff with me. But like luckily my whole collection from a kid is still there. So yeah, yeah, I've always. Oh, and then I still would buy on eBay, right? So
right.
I collect anything Rhode Island related, card wise, and some memorabilia, but card wise. And there's like a lot of stuff. So yeah, I always like bought the Tyson Wheelers and the Catino Mobleys, the Lamar Odom stuff, and like try to get those refracted, good stuff, right? And there's a lot more players on it, but yeah, buying packs like it is now. No, I stopped doing that probably 2004, like, and I couldn't afford Exquisite, right? So, but like 2004 or 5, I kind of stopped going to the card shops.
Mm-hmm.
And then it wasn't until about well, I was still buying on eBay, but like it wasn't until about probably 3 years ago, right? Like the pandemic probably, yeah, it was probably the pandemic that really, I started doing it in the breaks. I never bought into a break into the pandemic, but yeah, I've always bought cards and always will, yeah.
So is there like a moment or a card that you remember either from your childhood or, when you got back into it that really kind of sparked your desire to collect?
So I would say, well, my dad gave me that Dominique Wilkins, 86, 87, but that's the thing. I didn't like know at that time what that really was. So I gave that to me on my 10th birthday. So that's 92. He would have given it to me, right? But I didn't know, like, okay, like I wish I would have known, because if I look back at and also I had the Beckett's, right? So I still have my first Beckett, my like legit first Beckett, the Jordan cover. And like you could buy the whole set for or it was valued at $650 for like the whole set, dude. Wow. Right? So you don't think like what it is now, right? So I'd say that's a card. So my biggest PC, so I would say 1992, 93, 94 is when I really, really get into it, because of Isaiah Ryder. Isaiah Ryder put the ball through his legs, dunk contest. He became my PC. The Timberwolves became my favorite team when I was 10 years old. So like I have a crazy state. It makes no sense, but like if you put my Isaiah Riders, if anyone doesn't know Isaiah Riders, J.R. Ryder, check him out. He was dope. My stack of Isaiah Riders is way bigger than my Jordans and Shaqs. My Jordans and Shaqs is big, but yeah, dude. So I would say Isaiah Ryder cards, and my brother and father. So like I'm 3 years younger than my older brother. They were collectors. They bought baseball and football. I bought basketball. So I had all the sports in the house too.
Nice.
I just didn't collect the other stuff. I just did basketball.
Nice. And then so, throughout maybe your career, your life, have there been any cards that you've sold that you like regret selling that maybe one day you want to add back to your collection? Or I'm interested, have there been any regrets when it comes to selling cards in kind of your lifetime?
Yeah, dude. So I have, I might have it right here. I can show you. So actually, I have one right here. So everybody out there, just so you know, if I can't get a PSA 10, I want a 5. Okay, so 5 is my favorite number. So when I show you all my PSA 5 collection, keep in mind, I like the 5s. Okay, like it's gotcha. So this card I sold at the beginning of the pandemic when I needed money. Sidney Wicks, you guys can check him out. This PSA 5, PSA 10. I forget the price now, but if you look up Sidney Wicks, he was a good player. This is from 72. My father must have given to me this at some point, or I pulled it up from there used to be a big card show in Rhode Island when I was very young. So I don't know exactly where I got this as a kid, but I had it as a kid, sold it. I bought it back as a PSA 5. The Dominique Wilkins rookie I sold for $20. And like, dude, so that like the card my father gave me, right? So I've been trying to get that back, but that exploded. I also Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. I think it's the action packed one. It says action something on it. I forget what year that is. I also regret selling, and this all happened like I had to sell a bunch of stuff to get some money. I also sold. Oh, dude, the Dr. J. I forget the year. 79's got to be. But when he's on the Nets, bro, not his rookie, I don't think, but his an ABA card of his, and then just random Shaqs and stuff like that. But yeah, those cards specifically, like, I actually regret, and I'm trying to buy them back. Like, I bought this one back. I'm satisfied. I got the PSA 5, but the thing is this. I also sold, I had this amazing Providence College bobblehead collection. I collect anything Providence. I sold that, but keep in mind, there is regret. But like I said, this was all for SlabStrong. So I'll be able to get this stuff back. None of my collection is worth a bunch. You know what I mean? So it's like, I'll be able to get all of it back. But it was all for this moment. Like, it was all for this goal. And so that's why I work so hard too. I think that's another kick in the butt, right? Like, when you're down and out and you need to sell some of the stuff that you truly love, it's like, okay, you better make up for it, you know? So, but yeah, those are a few of the cards. You really actually hit me right in the heart with that question. Right there.
Yeah, I love that. So is there anything that sports cards has taught you throughout your career, you think?
I don't know if sports cards itself taught me anything, right? Because I never sold anything up until recently. So it wasn't like I was learning finance through it, right? It's not like the other guy's story. But what I have learned is that there's a lot of good people. Don't get me wrong. There's a couple of, you know what I mean, in this hobby. But there's a really lot of good people. And when you say, okay, the hobby, right? Quote, the hobby. Keep in mind, like, I do this. So I do this. This is my business, right? There's guys that technically have business. But there's guys that have 9 to 5. There's guys that not only have 9 to 5s, but have corporate or their bosses themselves, right?
Right.
So the hobby has taught me to, like, be open to new ideas. Because there was a guy like me talking to a guy like Corey from Show Your Slabs, so Dan from Stand Up Display, saying, hey, check my product out. I like your product. Check my stuff out. Hey, Jeff Wilson, invest in me. Ryan Johnson, put me in. Like,
right.
There's guys like me, so don't shut them off. And also, don't be afraid to be like, hey, I don't want a part of it, or you don't have a good idea. But no, just, it's taught me to network, be as good as a person as you can be. When you get annoyed, get angry, apologize sometimes, but basically try to be as good as a person as you can be. And you can really network. Like, that's how I got on the card. Like, right. I have 10,000 followers on Instagram. I'm not an influencer. Like, that's
right.
And all this just happened to me, right? Like, I was just lucky enough to have good people believe in me, right? So, and I don't know if you heard, I'm on a card.
Right. So actually, that was going to be.
I told everyone.
That was going to be the next question.
Like, I'm going to try to work in that I'm on a card on every
Oh, I mean, hey, honestly, like that was actually going to be my next question is, like, you know, I talked to Aaron from SlabStocks, and, you know, you're obviously on that, you know, they're phenomenal. I think some good names on that, you know, the checklist of people that I think are pretty inspiring. And I think, you know, even you sharing your story here, I think just kind of adds to that. So, like, what's the backstory behind how you got onto the card? Cause like I said, I feel like that's everybody's kind of dream. So, like, for you, what was the backstory there?
I got to leave out one detail.
Okay. Yeah, that's fine.
But someone at so basically, I was getting married. This is how it went down. I was getting married October 1st of last year. That was the same time the industry summit was happening in Las Vegas. I couldn't make it, but all my boys are there, right? Like, I know everyone there. There's meetings happening at the industry summit, at other places, you know, Topps Fanatics. There's meetings happening. Someone said to my guy Corey from Show Your Slabs, hey, we're thinking about putting, like, people on cards. Like, how do you think the hobby would react? Like, Corey's, you know, deep. People ask people's opinions and everything. Corey says, oh, you got to have Tim and his big hat on a card. I'm told right away, the guy gets on his phone and is like, we got to have Tim on a card. And it went down. And so thank you, everybody at Topps. But essentially, it goes back to networking. Right. They like me. I got myself in front of everyone, and thankfully, when I'm trying to be good, people like me. You see what I'm saying? So it's just networking, man. It's just contacts. But yeah, Corey from Show Your Slabs, he gets the credit for buying me the hat. And if I don't say it, he'll be in the comments talking about this.
Yeah,
and he'll pull receipts. So yeah, no, he that's how it went down though. That's literally how it went down. And so here's the cool part, right? So he then calls me. So this is October 5th, and he gets live just like this. And I'm gonna tell you too much of the story now because I don't care. So now we're live face to face, and he's like, keep in mind, this is my boy, right? So it's like he's saying, Tim, he's got this smirk on his face. He's like, I gotta tell you something, but I'm not supposed to tell you something. And I'm like, what do you mean? And he's like, oh, it's bad for me, but it's good for you. And like me being me, I'm like, dude, I literally say to him, what are you talking about? If it's good for me, it's good for you. Like, how could it be good for me and not good for you? Because I know, like, if something good was happening, we would tell you, right?
Right.
So he just smiles. He's like, no, it's really bad. And then I'm like, Corey, dude, I'm like, you can tell. It was like emotional, right? It's like, bro, you can tell me, like, it's okay. And so then he tells me, and I'm like, oh yeah, bro, it's bad for you. It's bad for you, bro, because he'll know. And then so now, keep in mind, and we'll keep this a secret between us.
Sure. And everybody watching.
Yeah. So now they call me to tell me, right? I got a message from a big guy, like, hey, what's your phone number on LinkedIn? And I'm like, oh, okay. Like this is someone real in the hobby. This isn't like just an influencer, right? This is
yeah.
And so he goes, okay, I'm going to Zoom call you. He gets on Zoom. He shows me a blaster box of 2021 or 22 Big League. And I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, is this Big Wig right here? Is he selling me a blaster box? So, but no, that's always a joke I say because I knew what was going on. But I'm like, but yeah. So he then says, hey, this is what we would like to do, and I'm obviously still excited, and then it's just been wild, dude. But that's how it happened. Literally, my good friend Corey from Show Your Slabs suggested I be on it. That was a very long story, but that's how it happened.
All good. Yeah, I mean that's awesome. I'm really, like I said, we met at the Atlanta at the Culture Collision. Super nice. I met a couple other people down there, and that like I said, when I saw that you were on the checklist, I was super excited because we met and you were nice to me then. And, I like the content that you make, videos and stuff like that. So like, if someone were to come to you and say, hey, Tim, like, how would you describe yourself in the hobby? Like, what would you tell that person?
I don't even know anymore, man. I don't think I can take the hat off now. It's tough. No, I don't know. Like, just real quick, just to get back to that point, it's real weird to be called an influencer. So
right. Yeah.
I have a lot of fun making jokes. I make jokes about people too in the hobby. Like it's fun to have fun, right? As long as there's a cross line, it's fun to have fun. But no, who I am, I don't know, man. I collect Rhode Island stuff. I'm real prideful of my state. Like it just, I don't know. There's not a lot of guys. Not that people can't make it out of Rhode Island, right? It's not like that, right? You can make it out of Rhode Island. But I'm saying I don't know. It's just like not a lot of people are boisterous about it necessarily, and I want to be, and I've always been, ever since I was young too. So I think that's cool. I also am real prideful of the city I come from, which is East Providence. So if you look at the back of the card, it says the truest of townie. That's a shout out to basically my high school and my back home. You know what I mean? I like to, if I can, help as much as I can with other people's businesses, just because I know they've helped me, and it's mutual, right? And it's done off love, right? It's not a lot of money necessarily, right? It's a lot of just like, hey, we a lot of guys have supported me from the beginning, so I try to do what I can, and I just try to have a lot of fun. I tell people all the time. Usually people know this. I tell everyone, like, I'm going to have the most fun that you could ever have because we're like dealing with cards and there's a lot of stress. There's a business, right? Like there's a business going on and there's a lot of stress and there's like, what if the dollar this and the markets crash that? But at the end of the day, man, I can go work a line in a restaurant again if I have to. Like I used to manage restaurants for 15 years. the stress of waking up and having to sell SlabStrong and having to wear a big hat is minimal compared to having to deal with schedules, people calling out, people getting sick, all this other stuff, people complaining the spaghetti's cold. So, no, just like most people, I've been lucky enough to step back and know my fault. So I step back and go, okay, you've been through this, but learn from it rather than keep you down. I learned that at a late age, and I try to be happy. Happy. Right. I'm married now. By the way, she did say yes when that started. She did say yes.
Okay, good.
She didn't break her ankle running away from me. But yeah, I just try to be a good person. The key word is try, right? Because none of us are perfect. Right. Try to be a good person. Tell people not to collect Rhode Island stuff so I can continue to get Rhode Island stuff for dollars, cents to the dollar.
Right.
But that's it, man. I'm going to keep expanding. I got some really big news coming up that I don't think I can share. I'm down here in Tennessee now, and I'm working with Sports Card Nonsense.
Oh, nice.
Mike Gio and those guys. So I'm trying to expand the brand, too. I've learned that I might be able to be a brand kind of thing itself.
Right.
Do stuff like that. And at minimum, have fun, going to cool places and doing cool things. But no, if anyone you run into me, you can't miss me with the hat.
Right, exactly.
You only catch attitude if I'm on my way to go to the bathroom or get a sandwich. Other than that, I think you met me, right? We were fine.
Yes, yeah.
I probably just ate, but yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. And I mean, from like a macro perspective, like, do you have any tips or any advice for somebody who's maybe trying to start a business within this industry?
Yep. Real quickly, right? You cannot be scared of the word no. Reach out to everyone. I always do an initial Jeff Wilson invested in me. He didn't look at the Instagram message I sent him, right? Because he wasn't following me. He didn't look at the Instagram message I sent him, I think, till 8 months later. After the deal. So like 11 months after I sent it, something crazy. And he finally looked at it because I'm in the receipt photo. Reach out to everyone. Don't be scared of the word no. Don't be scared to show people, but also don't be scared to get criticism, because not everyone is going to like whatever you're doing. And that really doesn't matter. It just has to be enough people. But the networking thing, just try to be a good person. Try to shake hands, look people in the eye, get in front of as many people as you can. If you maybe buy him a bear, But
right, yeah. Exactly.
Other than that, no, it's really just the networking thing. And if you can take the no's and take the criticism and not truly stress yourself out, there's going to be stress. That's the point. That's going to be. You won't do without the stress. You're going to get tight-chested. You're going to doubt yourself. Just don't stop. I think that's the best key is networking. Don't stop. I might write a song. Actually.
Nice. Yeah. I mean, that's great advice. I mean, I agree. The networking piece of it is I don't know. That's something that I 100% agree with. At any of the nationals, any of the shows, I'm always just trying to introduce myself to as many people as I can. Yeah. And with the hobby kind of just changing, it seems like overnight it can change. One cold wintry night in December, Fanatics came in and said they were buying the baseball license. So, and then they buy more licenses and all this kind of stuff. So from your perspective, what are you excited for over the next couple of years with Fanatics coming in and just kind of in general? I mean, it could even be what are you excited for with the company and all that kind of stuff?
They're clearly forward thinking, putting me on a card, probably the biggest move in card history. But in all seriousness, I think what they're doing, there's going to be bumps in the road for them. That's anything. But I haven't seen them do anything yet that I was they ruined it. Right? They ruined it. I know there's negative joking, trolling comments. Oh, they put the influencers. I'll never buy tops again. Stuff is the very small minority, and a very small minority of people that think like that.
Right.
I like what they're doing. Micah Ruben's continuing to show himself he was at the Phillies game yesterday outside with the Topps truck, right?
Right.
These guys are out there. a lot of these guys are at the shows and they won't necessarily tell you who they are, but they're like involved.
Yep.
Right. A lot of them are like ghosts in a sense where they're really involved more than you think. And like these executives are true collectors. The ones that I know, like these guys are actually really enjoy and want to see things change. And I'm excited for. So I was listening the whole Wemby thing. I just need a logo on this jersey. As long as there's a logo on the Wemby jersey, I'm fine. Right. So whatever happens, happens. But I don't know what that announcement is coming up. But all I know is whatever it is, still quarter 4 2025, they get football. First quarter 2026, they get basketball. So 2025 doesn't matter. Like whatever this one coming up is, cool. But I'm excited for like if and when Topps Chromes come back.
Yeah.
Those refractors, come on.
Yeah, they're gonna be some good cards.
You know.
So I have a sort of a new segment that I've been trying out. It's a little bit of a role play here. Hey,
dope.
What's up, Tim? It's me, Michael Rubin, the CEO of Fanatics. Thank you for coming on the show today. I really enjoyed. I have a couple of your cards. I really, congratulations on being on that card. Obviously, I'm the CEO of Fanatics here, so I'm wondering, do you have any tips for me, or do you have any business ideas that I can implement over the next couple of years?
Yeah, number one, hire me and give me a giant salary. How you doing, Mike? Second of all, give Daps a +1. Invite me on the private jet, Daps. But honestly, I've had this question from an actual job as hiring me as a manager, and this company was a multi-million-dollar company. And the true answer to this would be keep doing what you're doing, because clearly I am generally enjoying every move that's being made. So my advice would be keep doing what you're doing. Keep getting these licensing so we can see Chrome everything. But invest in new machines, the cutting machines that cut cards, the top-notch ones.
Oh, thank you so much. I'll go back to the people that I know, and obviously I'm the CEO, so I'm the one making the decision. So I'll go back and see what they have to say. Thank you, Michael. Thank you, Michael, for coming on the show. I'm trying to manifest him as a guest. Trying to manifest him as a guest, I suppose. But yeah, I agree. I mean, I think that the production, I think because we've seen with like Panini, unfortunately, with the amount of products that they're coming out with, the QC is sort of decreased a little bit, unfortunately, like with Prism and some of their higher end products, like even with like National Treasures, we're seeing that. So I definitely agree with you when it comes to the quality of the cards. I think that's, for a lot of collectors, I think quality, like, and it maybe even comes down to grading as well, is like super important. So I think it will be interesting to see sort of when Fanatics comes in, I'll be interested, like you were saying, I'll be interested to see what their first steps are when they get into basketball and football, and like, if like, what that first product comes out in, and like how big it is, to be completely honest. I'm really excited for those.
Yeah, I don't mind. So this is the thing, right? Normally you don't like monopolies, but I'm fine with it so far. I think they're doing everything right. I don't know what else they could do more. And I'm sure they're doing more. I know they're doing more, right? Like the Fanatics breaking, but even having the crutch of Fanatics betting, like not talking about cards, even the company is going to be a stronger company regardless of what happens with cards. So I just think I think they're telling the truth when Ruben's telling the truth, when the top guys at Topps, Fanatics, even Upper Deck, right? Even all these other companies, I think they mean it. I think they really enjoy the cards, and they want to collect dope stuff just like we do. But yeah, that's
Yeah, I agree with that. So I've got a couple other questions for you before I let you go here. So, I know you talked about like some of the PSA 5s you have in your collections. Do you have like one card that you look at and say, like, this is the card that means the most to me, like in my collection, or are you still sort of chasing that card?
So I'll show you. Yeah, I got two right here that, let me see if I have. Let me see if I have. I can show you two, basically. So, this is a card I've had since a kid, and I sent it into PSA. I just recently started. My friend, Gamer, she's awesome. She helped me sub to PSA. So I've had this card as a kid. I got an 8.
Oh, nice.
This Duke, right? It's probably worth $5, maybe not even. But this is what I'm talking about. This is why it's hard to be an influencer in the card game, because I just don't buy these, but they're mine. So this card I've had forever, and I've always wanted it graded, and I just, never did. And so I got this back, and then another card that I sent to her, I got this back. So I've been trying to get a 10 of this. This is a pop 1 only because no one else will send it in. So don't let me fool you. Don't buy these. But this is just my favorite cartoon as a kid. So I got a whole collection of these, and I'm trying to get a 10 specifically in this one, but I have other ones too. And then probably my newest PC is David Duke Jr. He's from Providence, went to Providence College, now plays for the Nets. So I got like 75 of his cards. So I don't have any one-of-ones of his yet, but there's a couple of gold. Yeah. So I got a few things where some non-sport basketball that I kind of got like a top 5.
Nice. Yeah. I mean, I'm always I like how whenever I ask that question, everybody has like a completely different answer. And it's just like, it's always fun to see that everybody kind of has different interests within the hobby. Like, and like people, I think it's fun to like learn about these new cards and like learn about all these new sets. And it's always just interesting to me that like everybody has like a different answer. And I think that's sort of kind of one of the cool parts about sports cards in general, is that like, there's no one size fits all way to do it. Like, I think you can do it however you want, and it doesn't matter. So I think that's really cool. So my last question actually I have here before I let you go is, what would you say is your dream card?
Well, I want the Jordan rookie. I want the Mantle rookie, whatever. Okay, like, whatever. I can get over it. I'm not spending that kind of money. So this dream cards, right? I would say there's a 1-of-1 gold vinyl from Optic, David Duke Jr., that I lost on eBay for $255, which is the most I would ever. No card of his is worth over $100. It's ridiculous. The guy the next day reposted it for $1,250.
Oof.
And then over like a year span, it went down to $650. So I want that card, but I'm not paying this.
Right.
Then I don't even know what it would be, but whatever. Oh, I'm sorry. The foil Chipper Jones in a 10. You know the Jeter one, the foil that everyone goes after?
Yeah.
Chipper Jones is my favorite. I don't even know if I have it around me, but Chipper Jones is my actual favorite player athlete of all time. So that's my big PC. But David Duke Jr., Chipper Jones, one of their big cards.
Nice.
Love this
that.
in a 10.
The 10. Yeah. You were looking for the 10 for that one. Now, would you, if it ever comes, so you're checking are you checking the pop reports for that one?
For what? This? No, I'm the only one who sent these in. No. Well, maybe now because I'm an influencer. Oh,
right.
I promise you, there's going to be a troll out there that just sends one of these in just to do it. I'll buy it though if it gets a 10, just so you know.
Right. Yeah. Right. I love that. Yeah. So, like I said, thank you so much for coming on. I really, great conversation. I really appreciate you taking the time. Let the audience know where they can find you, what you got going on, and just kind of let them know anything that you want to let them know before we wrap things up here.
Yeah. So if you want to buy the product, it's SlabStrong.com, but you can also, just SlabStrong on Facebook, on Instagram. My personal account, which I also sell from, is Slab_Strong. The only person I'm not SlabStrong is SlabStrong UK, but that's my friend in my European distribution. But yeah, SlabStrong.com, type SlabStrong into anywhere. And but you'll see me all over. If you see me at a show, come say hi. Yeah, you can find me anywhere.
Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you so much for coming on.
Thanks, bro.
Have a good one.